team and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to talk about DevOps monitoring, how we can monitor an application or a server and how we can implement it as well. So we are going to understand everything in very deep, so make sure to watch the video till end so that you don't miss out any of the things. Also team, before we get started, make sure to subscribe to channel so that you don't miss out amazing videos that we upload on DevOps and Cloud DevOps. For those who are preparing for interviews, you can check out the latest course which has around 100+ hours of content. It covers everything. You can check out the details in the description. So yeah, if interested to enroll, you can enroll. Now let's talk about today's topic. So today we are going to understand and implement monitoring. Okay, so as I said, we are going to do everything in detail and we are going to go very deep in order to understand the whole flow, so that later on, even if you are working by ourselves, we'll be able to implement it very easily. Okay, so we are going to understand things in sections. Okay, first section that we are going to have is the component that we want to monitor. Okay, so let us say what exactly we want to monitor. Okay, so let's say that we have deployed an application or a website, right? So we want to monitor our website, right? Secondly, we also want to monitor the server where the website is deployed. Correct? So these are the two core things which we want to monitor. Okay. Now in these two also, what exactly we want to monitor? For example, on website we want to monitor if website is up or not, if it is successfully reachable or not, right? We want to monitor if it is having an SSL certificate or not. So basically we want to monitor the website, about the website, how it's working, if it's working or not, if it is accessible or not, those kind of things, right? Secondly, we have server. The server could be the one where the website is running, or server could be an individual server where we have some other services running, right? So on this server, what exactly we want to monitor? So we want to monitor node metrics. Now what are node metrics? Node metrics could be CPU usage, RAM usage, disk usage, and these kind of things. Okay, so these are the two core things that we want to monitor. Okay, so this is the first section where we understand what exactly we want to monitor. Okay, now talking about how we can monitor these things, right? So in today's video, the tools that we are going to use will be Prometheus, the core component, and Grafana. Okay, inside Prometheus we are going to use some other tools also, which I am going to explain in a bit. For example, we are going to use node exporter. Sorry about my voice, I am having a little bit of cough. Okay, and we are also going to use black box exporter. Okay, I'll explain in a bit like what exactly these are and why do we need it. Okay, so let's start with Prometheus first. What is Prometheus? So Prometheus basically a data source that is going to perform the monitoring. Okay, that means the actual monitoring is going to be done by Prometheus, right? So if I want to monitor these components, so obviously we will be needing some kind of metrics, right? Then only we will be able to monitor. For example, from server side, we will be needing information like how much RAM is available, CPU is available, and on regular intervals we need to have that. Okay, similar to website also, on regular intervals we need to get information if website is reachable or not. So those things are what? Those things are metrics. How Prometheus is going to utilize it? First of all, Prometheus is data source, and what kind of data source? It's a kind of TSD data source. What is that? TSD means time series data. Now what is time series data? It refers to those metrics or those data that we collect over regular intervals of time. Okay, for example, we have this server which we want to monitor, right? So I have set up, I have told in Prometheus that you need to collect metrics or information about CPU usage every 10 seconds, right? So this is what that, and if you're collecting the data on regular intervals of time, that is every 10 seconds, that is time series data. Okay, so Prometheus is a kind of data source that is going to get data or metrics that will be stored as time series data. Okay. Now, let us say that Prometheus received all the metrics that it's going to monitor. So where exactly these metrics are going to be stored? Okay, so Prometheus uses a database. Now, there are many databases that you are already know, like MySQL we have other MongoDB and other everything else. But Prometheus uses a specific custom database that is known as TSDB, that is time series database. Why it uses that? Because as I said, Prometheus is going to collect metrics on regular intervals of time. And now in order for Prometheus to monitor it, analyze it, or whatever, it needs to be, these metrics or these data needs to be stored somewhere at some place from where Prometheus can easily access it. Okay, Prometheus can easily access it. For example, these metrics once collected by Prometheus, it will be stored inside the time series database. And from here, whenever Prometheus want to get any information, any data, it's going to run a query. Now these queries are written in specific language. That language is known as PromQL. Okay. Now, again, I'm saying why we are using, why Prometheus uses this specific database, because it makes very much easier for Prometheus to access the metrics or data that is collected. Okay. So now from here, we are very clear that Prometheus is a data source that is kind of time series data source, and which collects metrics or data on regular intervals of time. And Prometheus is the component that is going to perform the monitoring. Okay. Now, as I said, Prometheus gets metrics. How does it get it? Okay. So let us understand that. So basically what happens, Prometheus is going to get those metrics of like website or the individual server or worker node. Okay. It's going to use certain endpoints. Okay. For example, let's say my website is running here, 𝗖𝗎.com. So Prometheus, if you want to monitor the website, like its reachability or accessibility, those things, then Prometheus will be able to get the metrics on a specific place where it will be something like this, 𝗖𝗎.com something, and here it will be metrics. Okay. Similarly, let us say that we have a server, okay, whose IP address is this one, IP. Okay. So Prometheus will be getting the node metrics on some from where the URL will be something like this, IP/metrics. What is the common thing? These things, /metrics. Okay. So by default, you can understand very clearly that by default any website or any server won't be having this by default in general, right? Sorry. So from exactly where this endpoint will be created. Okay. So for that we have separate components inside, not inside, separate components which are known as exporters. Now, what is exporters? So basically exporters are those components that is going to collect the metrics and expose it or put those metrics available on these endpoints. That means these exporters are responsible for creating this endpoint so that Prometheus can get the metrics or get the data from this endpoint. Okay. So let's talk about exporters. So there are many exporters available for Prometheus, but there are two common ones that we are going to talk about now. First one, we have node exporter. Okay. From the name itself, you can understand it's a kind of exporter that is going to scrap. Scrap means take out. Okay. It's going to scrap the metrics of the node, or you can say server, or you can say, let's say virtual machine also could be there. Okay. So basically what happens, let's say this is my server or virtual machine. Okay. Where my application is running. Okay. So I want to get the node metrics. Node metrics in node metrics, what do we have? In node metrics, we have CPU usage, RAM usage, disk, and those kind of things. Okay. Now, if these things are we need to have them, then we need to first of all install node exporter on this virtual machine or the node. Okay, node, worker node. If you are using in Kubernetes, then on your Kubernetes worker node it should be there, or the on the pod also it should be there, right? So we need to first of all install node exporter here. Then node exporter, what it's going to do, it's going to collect these information, the metrics, then expose these information on where let's say IP is this one. Okay, and the port on which node exporter runs is like 9100. Now metrics will be exposed here. Okay, so this will be exposed by node exporter, and then Prometheus will be able to get node exporter node metrics from here. Okay, similarly we have black box exporters. Okay, now what it's going to do, first of all, since black box exporter is the kind of exporter that is going to help you get information about if your website, if your website is up or not, reachable or not, SSL is there or not. So the thing is key, since we just need to get information, like we just need to check if my website is running or not, right? That means ki black box exporter does not need to be installed on the server where this application is running, right? That means ki I can install black box exporter anywhere. I can just send request on the website. Request, like I can use some curl command to check if website is running or not, right? So one main thing that you should understand very clearly here, when you want to monitor the virtual machine or your server, when you want to get information of node metrics, RAM, CPU, disk usage, those things, then you need to make sure that node exporter is running on the server where you want to monitor these things. But when you want to get information or you want to monitor a website with respect to black box exporter, in order to get the information if the website is running or not, then you don't need to install, it's not mandatory for you to install black box exporter on the server where the application is running. Why? Because we can install it anywhere. We just have to send request. We have to send request to the website to get information, right? That means we don't need to install it directly on the virtual machine. Okay, we don't need to install it on the server where the application is running, right? That means, and yeah, here how it will be, the metrics will be collected by Prometheus. So let's say we have xyz.com/ something like this will be there. Then Prometheus will understand, okay, from here we'll be getting information about the website monitoring, and from here node monitoring. Okay, so exporters are doing two things. First, what they are doing, they are collecting the metrics. Okay, and then they are putting those metrics accessible on a specific endpoint which is known as /metrics. Why they have to do that? Because Prometheus is able to access it here only. Okay, now here what we understand as of now, we understood that, let us say that this is my server, and on this server we have website running, right? So if I want to monitor this server and website, what we have to do, first of all, on this server I have to install node exporter, and I have to install anywhere, which one, black box exporter. Note that I'm not installing it on the server because it is not needed. Okay, so node exporter, what it's going to do, it's going to collect the metrics and expose it on metrics endpoints. Black box is also going to send request to website, get information and expose the metrics. Then there will be Prometheus installed somewhere on some server, which is going to get the metrics or collect the metrics that is exposed or scrapped by exporters. Okay, now this is clear. Now we need to understand that Prometheus, even though it has the data, it has all the metrics and data collected or scrapped by exporters, it can monitor, but as a human being, for us, there is no proper way to understand that data from Prometheus. So for that purpose, in order for us to understand or analyze that data in a proper format, what we do, we install a third tool which is known as Grafana. Okay, Grafana is what? Grafana is a visualization tool. So what it does, the data that we have collected and that is stored inside Prometheus database, it's going to be shared to Grafana, and inside Grafana we can create or we can visualize the data in a proper format. In what format? We can create tables, we can create charts, we can create graphs. So then it becomes easier for human being or us to analyze the whole data. Okay, so this is the whole process that works, and this is what we are going to implement now. Okay, so let's do that. So what things we'll be needing for this to for this demo? First of all, I'm going to set up one virtual machine where I'm going to run or deploy an application. Okay, and we need to monitor this application, right? Then here we are going to install node exporter. Then again we are going to take another second virtual machine where we are going to install Prometheus, black box exporter, and Grafana. As I said, black box exporter is not needed to be installed on the same server where application is running. Okay, but it is mandatory. Node exporter is mandatory. Okay, so let us do the demo and see how it goes. So for that, I'll go to AWS EC2 machine and I'm going to create two machines. Launch instance. Sorry about my voice, I'm just having a little bit of trouble. Ubuntu machine I'm taking, version is 24.04 and size. So I'm going to take, let's say, T2 medium. Okay, first, one machine I'm taking T2 medium where application will be running. And key, this one I'm selecting. Now, security group. This is I'm selecting, but let me show you the ports that I have opened on my security group so that you can open the same thing, because since we are going to install multiple multiple tools like exporter, multiple exporters, so they run on different ports. So we need to make sure we have that. And yeah, this is the range. This is the general range that I keep open in order to make sure that everything works fine. Okay. Coming back here, storage I'm giving 20, and let's call the first machine as the application server. Okay, I'll just launch it. Meanwhile it is getting launched, let me create second machine. So this is the machine where we are going to install our application. Okay, and second machine I'm creating, which is going to be for installing monitoring tools. I'm naming it monitoring 12, and this is fine, 24.04 size. Since we are going to install multiple tools, so I'm going to take T2 large. You can work with T2 medium also, but it will be a little slow. And this one key, select the security group. Storage I'm giving 25 to it. Okay. So these two machines are created. One more thing, team. So basically in real time when we are going to monitor it inside Kubernetes. But before we jump to Kubernetes, in this video I'm going to guide with virtual machine so that you can understand the correct flow. Once you understand the correct flow, then you can jump to Kubernetes monitoring, which I'll be showing on later on. Okay, but yeah, this is very important because here we need to understand the actual flow, how exactly everything works. Okay, so now let's connect. So first I'll take the virtual machine, and we have 𝗵𝗏𝗀 on our machine. So we can, let me search it. Where is it? 𝗵𝗏𝗀. And this is free, and it works very well. Okay, let me remove the existing sorry guys, little bit trouble I'm having with while speaking. Okay, now let me click on session, let's create new session, remote host. Here I can provide the IP address. Username will be Ubuntu. Advanced SSH. So here we have to select the private key using which we'll be able to access. One more thing that we are going to do is bookmark. I'm going to name this machine, and it's 43. It's for application server, right? So I can name this as application server. Okay, if you want, you can give a color also. I'll just go with this one. Okay, so I'm going to create duplicate session for it, and let's rename this. This will be monitoring. Name we can set it to orange or something, anything. Okay, and get the public IP address of the second server, which is this one, and let's put it here. Now both the machines are connected and running, right? So first thing that we have to do, we have to install on this machine, we are going to run an application so that we can access it on browser. Okay, so I'm going to install or run a Java based application. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have Java installed. So first command that we have to run, sudo apt update, so that all the packages are updated and available for usage. Okay, after that we are going to install Java and Maven. So let's wait for this. Same thing we have to run first here also, which is going to be sudo apt update. Okay, and let us check out the application also, the one that I'm going to use today. And where is it? This seems fine, and let's work with this. Okay, it's done. So I'm going to clone the repository here. Any application you can choose. I'm just selecting this for the demo. This is done, and now let's install Java. I'm going to go with 17 headless. Headless means it does not have any kind of UI. After Java, we have to install this one, Maven as well. And let's wait for this. Okay, so this is done. Now I'm going to install sudo apt install Maven. Okay, so this is done, and now let's wait for this. Okay, this is done, and we can go inside this folder where we have the application, and I can run the command maven package, and it's going to build the application so that we can run it. Okay, so yeah, let's wait for this to complete. Okay, so as we can see that application is built. Next step would be to run the application so that it is accessible on browser. Okay, so for that, what we have to do, if I show you, we have this target folder. You can see here, target folder. We will go inside it, and we have the jar file here. Okay, so I can run it by running the command java -jar, then this one. Now I want that my application should be running. Let's first see if it runs or not. So I can run this. An application should be accessible on browser at, I'll copy the IP address, and by default application will be running on port 8080, so we can check it here. Yeah, application runs, and it's, yeah, 𝗕𝗏𝗃, let's not sign up and log in, let it be, it's running. Okay, coming back here. So meanwhile, I'll stop the application, and this time I want to run this application in background. Okay, so for that I'll just put ampersand. This means that it will be running in background. Okay, let's wait for this. As you can see, started taskmaster application. So I'll just click enter, and you can see it is running now in background. Okay, so that's fine. Application is running. Next step would be we have to install, as I told you, we have to install node exporter on this machine where the application is running, right? So where do we get it? So for that, you can just go on browser, type prometheus.io/download, and here we have Prometheus, we have alert manager, lot of exporters are there. So we have to search for node exporter, right? And we are going to install it on Linux. So I'll just copy this link, go here, and I'll run the command wget to download that package here. Okay, and you can see it is downloaded, and if I show you, yeah, package is there. So application, this node exporter is tar file we have downloaded, so we have to extract it. So for that we can run tar-xvf and then node name this file, click enter, and we have this extracted, right? So first I'm going to remove the tar file, not needed, and I'm going to rename this also so that it's very small. So I'm going to type the command mv node, and I'm going to just type node exporter. This is fine, right? This is small and concise, looks good. We can go inside it. Now here you can see 3 files are there, and this is the file in green color, which is the executable file. That means if I want to run node exporter, I just need to start this file or run this file. How we can do that? So I can run it by running the command /node exporter, and it's going to start it. If I click enter, firstly you can see listening on address, this one, right? And as it has started. So again I can access node exporter here. I can copy this, go on browser, put it 9100. You can see that it is running, and here you can see this is the thing that I was talking about, endpoint, right? Metrics. So these are all the things that it is collecting. Now the thing is key, again if I click enter, if I press Ctrl C, it's stopped, right? So that means I want to run it in background. So again I can just put ampersand and it's going to run in background. Okay, so now we have a node exporter setup which is running fine. Next thing, we can go to second machine, which is the monitoring machine, where we are going to install Prometheus and other exporters. Okay, sorry. So I can go here. First thing, I can go on the top, and here we'll be able to see Prometheus, and I want to install for Linux, so I can copy the URL, copy this, put it here, wget. Okay, before we jump to this, I want to explain you one more thing. So I told you that Prometheus is going to collect everything from metrics, but how does Prometheus know that we have to like it has to collect things from this specific URL? So basically there is a file known as prometheus.yaml, which is a kind of configuration file. So inside this file we have to mention the targets. Targets are what? They are basically some kind of URLs of node exporter, then URLs of the specific website that we are going to monitor. From there Prometheus knows, okay, from these URLs I have to get the metrics. Okay, coming back. So Prometheus is downloaded, we have to extract it, tar-xvf Prometheus, and let's wait for this. This is done, so I can remove the tar file, and let's rename this. I'm going to just rename this to Prometheus. Okay, we have this. Let us go inside this, and again inside Prometheus also you'll be able to see this executable file. That means if I want to run Prometheus, I can just execute this file and Prometheus will start. And also you will be able to see here prometheus.yaml, which is the configuration file inside which we are going to add the URLs of node exporter and the black box exporter. Okay, so that it knows from where we have to get the metrics. Okay, now let's try running the Prometheus. As you see, where exactly it will be running on 9090. So let us access it. I can copy this, I can go on browser, put it here, :9090. Now this is the first page that you are going to see when you set up Prometheus, but here you have to go on status and you have to let's go to target health. Now target health is the location from where you'll be able to see what endpoints currently Prometheus is more sorry guys, health is not so good. So here we'll be able to see that Prometheus is currently monitoring only the local host metrics. That means currently it is able to get monitoring metrics only for the current server where Prometheus is installed, right? But we want to add the target for the application server and the website URL also, right? So how we can do that? So first let me stop this, Control C stop, and we have to edit this prometheus.yaml file. So let us do this. I'll go with prometheus.yaml. Okay, here you see these things. Scroll down to scrape config. Okay, scrape config is the section where you have to add the URLs for which you want to get the metrics. Okay, so first we have to add for what we have to add for node exporter. We have to add the URL for node exporter, and the URL of node exporter is this one, correct? And we have to add it here. How we will be adding it? So firstly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this section, okay, and I'm going to go here, YAML lint. Basically what I want to do, I want to make sure that YAML format is correct, and here we have issues. So let me first remove this thing. So team, you have to correct the indentation and then you have to copy this part. Now here what things we have to modify. So first of all, you can see name has been changed, node exporter. In target we have to provide URLs for node exporter, which is this one, right? So I'll copy that. I'll go here and let us paste it here. Now first of all, let me remove this and let us remove this as well, and now it's fine. So I can copy this now and we can go to Prometheus. Now let's go into insert mode and go into the next line, and here we have to add it. Okay, the problem you can see here very clearly that indentation is not correct. So let me correct it. Okay, and here also. Okay, this seems fine for me. Let me try. Let me save this. Okay, and now, so Prometheus is already running, so I'm going to restart it so that these changes can be added. Okay, so Prometheus is not running, so we can start it, and that we can do by running the command /Prometheus. Let's see. So it has started and it will be running on port 9090. So we can access it by going here and let me click enter. Now here what you can see, for node exporter successfully we have added an endpoint is visible now, right? Same kind of thing we have to do with respect to black box exporter, but for black box the code is a little bit different, because for black box we have to add the URL for this website, right? So for that you have to go on a GitHub page. Link will be in the description. All the code will be in the description. You can check it out, and you can see here this is the thing that we have to add with respect to black box. Probe. What it does? Probe basically means that black box is going to send probes. Means it's going to send request. Okay. What kind of module we are going to use? 2xx, which means looking for HTTP 200 response. And in targets we have to add the URLs of the websites that we want to monitor. Okay. So I'll copy from here to here, and let us first correct the indentations. Let's see. Okay, it's not so correct. Okay, so let me correct this. Okay, so I have corrected it, and now we can go back to Prometheus. I'll stop the Prometheus, and we are going to modify the Prometheus.yaml, and here we have to add for black box exporter as well. Okay, and I will go here. Okay, here we can add it. And this is the one that we have created, so I'll copy this and let's add this. I hope the indentation does not break. Okay, and okay, it seems it is broken now. No problem, let me correct the things one by one. Metrics, then we have params. Then we have module. Okay, seems fine. Let me, okay. Now before saving it, we have to modify a few things. So here we have in targets, we have to add the things that we want to monitor. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to add my GitHub URL. Let's say that I want to monitor that, and I'll copy this and I will add it here. Second thing that we want to monitor, let's say I want to monitor the website, and here we have to add the IP address where the application is running. And since you can see it is running already on port 8080, so I'll just copy the IP address. I will add it here. Make sure correctly you are adding. You can see multiple times it is added. So let me remove these things. Okay, this fine. For now, let's just add two URLs. I'll remove this one. Okay. At the end in the replacement section, you have to add the URL for black box. Okay. Now, one thing you might be able to notice that we have not yet installed black box, but still I'll just add the URL of the monitoring server because that's where we are going to install black box. Okay. And I will save this. Okay, now quickly let us do one thing. Let us install black box exporter as well. And for that we can go to here, and here let me search for black box. For Linux we can copy, go here, run the wget command, and once it is done, then we are going to extract it. I'm going to run tar-xvf black box, extracted. Now let's remove the tar file. We have this, and I'm going to remove the rename this to just black box so that it's easier to work with. Okay, and now we can go inside it. Now here also you can see there is an executable file, right? So I can run this, and I'm going to run it in background by using ampersand. Click enter, and it's running on port 9115. So let us access it. And yeah, it is also running. So as of now there is no probe sent. Okay. Coming back to Prometheus, so we'll go to Prometheus, and in Prometheus we have to start it, and now I'm going to start it in backend. Okay, so I'm going to run the command Prometheus, sorry, ampersand sign, so that it runs in backend, and it has started. And now we need to confirm that the URLs that we have added, the targets, they're visible or not. And let me refresh. Now these two are visible. As the status state you are seeing unknown because it takes little bit of time to get refreshed. Now you can see everything is in up state. That means these two targets that we have added, one is for the GitHub URL and one is the application URL. Okay, so this part is done. Now now we can say that using exporters, Prometheus is able to get the metrics. Okay, but now we want to analyze the metrics and data that is collected by Prometheus. So for that we have to install Grafana. Okay, so for installing Grafana, you can go on this website grafana.com/grafana/download. Here you can select the machine that you want to install on. So for me it's Linux and we have Ubuntu, right? So I can copy this now, go here, and okay, let me come out of this folder first, and let's run this here. Second command is basically to download the deb package, so I can copy that as well. And final command we have, which is to depackage the package that we just downloaded. Okay, Now it seems that this might take a little bit of time, around 8 minutes it says. Okay, so yeah, once this is downloaded, then I'll be back. Now as we see that it is downloaded, and so next command that we have to run is this one, which is going to depackage the package that we just downloaded. So let's run this, and we are also going to get the commands to start Grafana. Okay, now here you can see first what we have to do. We have to run this command to reload the daemon, and then this enable it so that Grafana will be automatically started on a system restart. Okay, and this is going to start the server, Grafana server, and by default Grafana runs on port 3000. So let us access it. I can copy this, go in browser, put it here, and then 3000. And as you can see, it is running. So by default username password should be admin only, and let us log in. Now we have to set up new password, so I'll just provide some new password. Same here, submit. So Grafana is set up now. Now what we have to do, we have to add Prometheus to Grafana as data source, so that the data that is collected or stored in Prometheus database will be accessible for Grafana to present that in a proper format. Okay, so for that, first of all, click on connections. You can see data source, right? So here search for Prometheus, right? Third option, click on that, and now we have to add new data source. Here Prometheus URL, which we can get from here, so I can copy till 1990. I'll copy that, paste it here, scroll down. Since there is no authentication as of now, so we'll just leave it to this. Scroll down, and at the end click on save and test, and you can see successfully queried Prometheus API. That means that Grafana is able to get information, get the Prometheus data. Okay, now click on dashboard. So now what we have to do, we have to see data is already collected by Prometheus, but for that to be presented to us in a proper format, we are using Grafana, and in Grafana we have to set up dashboards. So first option is that you can click on new dashboard, and you can create your own dashboard, which is very hectic and very hard. So best way to do that is that you can go in browser, search here. First I'll go with node exporter Grafana dashboard. You can search that, click on the first link, and here you'll be able to get one ID. Where is it? You can see, copy that, go back to Grafana, click on new, click on import dashboard. So this is basically going to set up a it's basically there is a template available which is going to be used to create a dashboard, and this is much better. So I can put here the ID 1860, click on load, and here we will select the data source of Prometheus that we have already added inside Grafana. Click on import. As soon as I put that, you can see all the information we are having. Now few things that you need to understand here. First of all, this is the host, that means this is the server that we are monitoring. Job is node exporter that we have already added in Prometheus.yaml, right? Data source Prometheus we can select. Now here few things that I'm going to do. First, we have refresh option, which is 1 minute. So I want that every 5 seconds this should be refreshed, and data I want of last 5 minutes. Okay, so we are getting all the information, right? Here we can get CPU information, and see all the things are available in detail: memory, meminfo, vmstat, time sync, process, and everything, right? So yeah, you can explore it more. Now let's talk about a second dashboard, which is going to be for, firstly let me click on dashboard again. So one dashboard that we have added, which is node exporter. Second dashboard that we are going to add, which is going to be for black box exporter, which is responsible for monitoring the website. Okay, so again I can go on browser, I can search here as black box Grafana dashboard, click on the first link, copy the ID, go back to Grafana, click on import, put the ID here, and click on load. Make sure to select the data source and import. Now this is basically we are seeing here Okay, let me first make changes. So refresh rate I'm going to set up to 5 seconds, last 5 minutes. Okay, here what things you are seeing here, first of all, this is the monitoring of our application website status. You can see up because it is running. HTTP status goes 200, means everything is okay. Probe was sent and request received 200. SSL is not present, so no. Here this is for the GitHub URL that I selected. SSL present. Okay, so it's going to monitor everything. HTTP duration, probe duration. Okay, basically see, in HTTP probes what we are doing, we are sending HTTP request to the website to see if the website is reachable or not. Okay, and duration is basically time taken by that. Okay, probe duration is basically total time taken for all the probes. Okay, so yeah, you can see this is how we can monitor everything, and this is the best way to get started with monitoring. And if you have any doubt, you can just put it in comment section. Okay, so yeah, check it out. Make sure to practice it on your own so that you can get a very good start with the monitoring part. Okay, so thanks for watching and have a nice day, team.